If someone disrespects you, the first instinct most people have is to react, to fire back, to defend their pride in the moment. But here is the truth most never understand. Reacting is weakness. Silence is power. The moment you react, you show that their words or their actions have influence over you. You prove, without realizing it, that they have entered your mind and pulled the strings. Every heated reply, every attempt to justify yourself, every visible flare of emotion, it hands them the control they were searching for. And once you hand them control, you've already lost. But when you remain silent, when you refuse to bend to provocation, something strange happens. Power shifts. The one who lashes out looks small. The one who remains calm looks unshakable. Silence is not emptiness, it is dominance, because silence forces the world to lean in and wonder, and that wonder is where your strength lies. Silence creates mystery. It makes people second-guess their own words and actions. It forces the disrespectful to sit with their own noise, amplifying their weakness, while your composure becomes undeniable strength. In silence, you show that your value is not up for debate, that your time and energy are too precious to waste on petty conflict. In silence, you reveal that you do not need to prove yourself, because those who truly hold power never do. Think about the greatest figures of history, the ones remembered not just for what they said, but for what they didn't. They understood that silence is not retreat, it is restraint. Restraint is control, and control is the foundation of true dominance. Every time you react, you give them the satisfaction of knowing they got to you. But when you refuse, when you choose to rise above, you leave them trapped in the echo chamber of their own disrespect. Their insult rings hollow. Their mockery bounces back at them. Their attempts at humiliation collapse under their own weight, all because you gave them nothing. The one who cannot control their tongue, their temper, their pride, they are slaves to the moment. But the one who controls the frame, who dictates the energy of the room without a single word, that person is untouchable, because silence is not the absence of power, it is the concentration of it. In a world addicted to noise, addicted to instant replies, addicted to outbursts, silence cuts deeper than any word. People expect reaction. They live off reaction. They want the clash. But if you deny them, you starve them. You let them drown in their own fire while you sit untouched, unmoved, unbroken. This is not about passivity. This is not about weakness. This is about choosing when to act, how to act, and whether the act is even worth your energy. Silence is not surrender. It is strategy, and strategy is what separates the powerful from the powerless. So understand this. Disrespect will come. People will test you. They will push, they will provoke, they will attempt to drag you into the mud. But if you carry yourself with silence, you make yourself untouchable. You become a mirror in which their own ugliness is reflected back at them. And nothing destroys a fool faster than watching himself exposed with no one else to blame. Remember, reacting is easy. Reacting is instinct. Anyone can react. But only the disciplined can remain silent. Only the strong can hold their composure when others lose theirs. And it is that discipline, that refusal to be shaken, that makes silence the sharpest weapon of all. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not retreat. Silence is not the absence of power. It is the proof of it. It is the calm before the storm. It is the pause that makes the world pay attention. It is the space in which real strength grows, unseen, unstoppable, undeniable. So the next time someone disrespects you, Do not give them what they want. Do not validate their attempt to drag you down. Do not waste your breath on someone unworthy of it. Instead, own the moment, hold the silence, control the frame, and let them discover, too late, that they were never in control at all. Because in the end, the one who reacts is a servant to the situation. The one who stays silent is the master of it. And mastery, quiet, composed, unshakable mastery, is the foundation of every throne that no one dares approach. Once you have mastered the art of not reacting, of holding the frame, the next stage of retaliation is something far more subtle, far more devastating. You let them bury themselves. This is not about clashing head-on. This is about letting the enemy's own momentum work against them until their downfall becomes inevitable. And the most effective tool in this process is absence, the deliberate silence, the withdrawal of attention, the refusal to engage. Every insult, every provocation, every attempt to drag you into conflict is a desperate cry for validation. It is a plea for your attention, because your attention is power. The more you feed their outburst with responses, the more powerful they feel. But take that attention away, and suddenly their strikes land in the void. They swing at shadows, they shout into emptiness, and nothing is more maddening, nothing is more humiliating than realizing you were fighting alone while the other person has already walked away. Absence is not weakness. Absence is a weapon. It is the silent blade that cuts deeper than any shouted word. When you withdraw your energy, you rob your enemy of the one thing they cannot fight without, an audience. You force them to wrestle with their own anger, their own noise, their own embarrassment. And the longer you remain absent, the more their frustration festers, the more their desperation grows, until they destroy themselves from within. Imagine someone insulting you in public. They crave a duel, a spectacle, something that will make them look strong in the eyes of others. But you do not give it to them. You don't rise. You don't answer. You don't even acknowledge their existence. Instead, you let them continue. Let them exhaust themselves. Let them shout into silence. What happens? The crowd begins to turn. At first, they might watch with curiosity, but soon they see only one person thrashing, clawing for attention, digging their own grave with every word. You stand above it all, untouched, calm, absent even as you remain present. And in that absence, you bury them without ever lifting a hand. The weaponization of absence is psychological warfare. It gnaws at the disrespectful. It makes them question themselves. It plants seeds of doubt in their mind. Why are you not responding? Why are you not angry? Why are you not shaken? Their need for control collapses under the unbearable weight of silence. And the longer it goes on, the more they realize the truth. They are nothing without your reaction. This is why the most dangerous strike is no strike at all. The most crushing defeat is the one your enemy delivers to themselves while you watch in silence. When you learn to wield absence as a weapon, you don't just defeat disrespect, you erase it. You force it to consume itself until there is nothing left. Let them speak. Let them rage. Let them drown in their own fire. Do not give them the water they seek. Instead, watch as their flames devour them. Your absence will be the mirror that shows them what they truly are, powerless without you. And when they collapse under the weight of their own noise, the world will remember who stood silent, unshaken, untouchable. And that is the power of absence. That is how you let them bury themselves, and that is why silence, when used with precision, becomes the deadliest weapon of all. Silence is power. Absence is a weapon. But power and weapons, on their own, are incomplete without timing. Retaliation is not just about refusing to play another person's game. It is about choosing when and if you will act at all. The third rule of retaliation is the art of striking like fate. Unpredictable, unstoppable, and devastating. This is not about constant warfare. This is not about lashing out every time someone provokes you. This is about the rare, precise strike that no one expects and no one can recover from. Think about the rhythm of conflict. Your enemy strikes, expecting you to strike back. They anticipate the clash. They feed on the back and forth. But when you deny them that reaction, when you choose silence and absence, they fall into a dangerous illusion. They start to believe you are passive. They start to think you are weak, that you will never answer, that their disrespect has no consequences. And that is exactly when the ground beneath them begins to shift. The strike they never see coming begins with patience. Patience is not waiting idly. It is studying, observing, calculating. While they expose themselves, while they reveal their patterns, while they keep showing their hand, you are silent, steady, watching. You do not waste energy in petty skirmishes. You store it. You sharpen it. You let them believe they are winning, that their attacks have no answer. And when the moment comes, when their guard is lowest, when their arrogance blinds them, that is when you move. To strike like fate means to move with inevitability. Fate does not announce itself. Fate does not shout or threaten. Fate arrives without warning, and when it comes, there is no escape. Your retaliation should feel the same. Whether it is a word, an action, or a decisive move that cuts through months of provocation, it must be swift, undeniable, and final. You do not need the strike often. In fact, the less you strike, the more powerful it becomes when you finally do. Consider this. A person disrespects you repeatedly, thinking you are too calm to respond. They grow bold, careless, reckless. Others start to wonder why you do nothing. But then one day, at the right moment, in front of the right audience, you deliver one action, sharp, deliberate, impossible to ignore, that destroys their credibility completely. You did not fight them in every battle. You waited until the single blow that ends the war. And because they never saw it coming, they have no defense, no preparation, no recovery. The beauty of the unseen strike lies in its timing. Too early, and you reveal yourself. Too late, and the moment passes. But at the precise point, when arrogance has peaked, when weakness is exposed, when their downfall will echo the loudest, that is when you act. This is what makes retaliation feel like destiny. To them, it is not just a counterattack. It feels like an invisible hand closing the door on their ambitions. It feels like inevitability. And here is the truth. Not every strike must be loud. Sometimes the strike they never see coming is not a confrontation at all. It may be a decision that changes everything for them without a word spoken. It may be removing your support, withdrawing your presence, cutting off access to your energy, influence, or resources. It may be a single sentence delivered calmly that dismantles the foundation of their identity. It may be walking away forever at the moment they thought you never would. A strike is not defined by volume. It is defined by impact. The essence of this rule is restraint followed by precision. You let them think you are still. You let them believe you have surrendered. But beneath the calm surface, you are the storm preparing to break. And when you move with the force of inevitability, like a tidal wave that was always coming, but no one saw until it was too late. Do not waste your energy on constant reaction. Do not fight every battle. Do not prove yourself to every critic. Wait, watch, study. Then, when the time is perfect, unleash one blow that cannot be ignored. A strike so precise, it rewrites the memory of every insult before it. A strike so unexpected that it leaves them speechless. A strike so final
that they never dare to test you again. That is the art of moving like fate. The strike they never see coming is not about violence. It is about inevitability. It is about patience, calculation, and timing. It is about refusing to waste yourself on battles that don't matter, so that when you do act, the entire world feels it. And when that happens, no one will remember the noise of their disrespect. They will only remember the silence that came before your strike and the devastation that followed it.
The strike itself is only half the battle. A blow, no matter how precise, no matter how devastating, is not the end. What truly defines your power is not just the act of retaliation, but how you hold the silence after it. Anyone can deliver a strike. Few can command the aftermath. The fourth rule of retaliation is this: you must own the aftermath, because it is in the aftermath that dominance is cemented. Think about what happens after a decisive strike. The room shifts. The silence grows thick. The air itself seems to tremble with the echo of what just occurred. In that fragile space, all eyes turn to you. They are waiting to see how you carry yourself. Do you gloat? Do you explain? Do you justify? Do you attempt to prove your point? Every extra word, every unnecessary explanation, every indulgence in pride cheapens the impact of the blow. True power is not in explaining the strike, it is in embodying it. Owning the aftermath means holding the silence with composure. It means allowing the weight of what you did to settle in without rushing to fill the void. It means resisting the urge to overplay your hand. Because once the strike has landed, the work is already done. Your enemy is disoriented. The audience has witnessed the shift. The only thing left for you is to stand tall, calm, and unshaken. The more you say, the more you dilute the potency of your action. The less you say, the more your presence expands to fill the silence. Dominance after the blow is about restraint. The greatest mistake people make after a decisive move is to brag, to gloat, to try to squeeze more out of the moment. But power is not loud, it is quiet. The one who owns the aftermath does not need to point to their victory. The room already feels it. The defeated already knows it. The silence itself speaks louder than words ever could. Consider a fighter who knocks out his opponent in the ring. What happens next? The amateur jumps up, screams, points, tries to prove how great they are. The master simply walks away, calm, collected, because the victory is already undeniable. The audience remembers not the noise, but the composure. The same is true in life. When you strike and then hold your silence, the world reads that silence as confidence, as inevitability, as dominance. Owning the aftermath also means controlling the narrative. When you refuse to explain yourself, you force others to fill in the blanks, and people will always imagine more than you could ever say. They will wonder about your intent, your reasoning, your depth. They will magnify your power in their own minds because mystery multiplies presence. The one who explains is understood. The one who stays silent is mythologized. But owning the aftermath is not just about silence. It is also about consistency. If you deliver a strike and then fall back into weakness, the impact fades. If you act with power once, but cannot sustain your composure, people will see it as a moment of luck, not of dominance. To truly cement your position, you must show that the strike was not an accident. It was a reflection of your nature. You carry yourself afterward with the same calm authority as before, proving that what just happened was not an outburst, but a deliberate expression of who you are. The aftermath is also when loyalty is forged. People watch not just how you strike, but how you carry yourself after. If you act with discipline, with calm, with quiet control,
You inspire respect. You show that you are not ruled by impulse, that you are not reckless, that your power is deliberate and intentional. And people trust those who wield power with control. They gravitate toward it. They align themselves with it. In this way, the aftermath becomes not just the sealing of dominance over your enemy, but the expansion of influence over everyone else. This stage is also about emotional mastery. It is easy to be swept away by the adrenaline of victory, by the rush of finally striking back. But power is not in indulgence. It is found in composure. To own the aftermath is to master yourself in victory as much as in conflict. You do not let pride bloat your ego. You do not let emotion cloud your judgment. You remain as steady as stone, proving that your strength comes from not the chaos of reaction, but from the discipline of control. And perhaps the most devastating aspect of owning the aftermath is what it does to your enemy. When they are struck down and you offer no words, no gloating, no acknowledgement, you rob them of even the smallest foothold for recovery. They can't argue with your silence. They can't twist your words because there are none. They can't cling to the idea that they got to you because you remain unreadable. They are left alone with their defeat, forced to sit in the wreckage of their failure while you have already moved on. To own the aftermath is to show that your strike was not the climax, but merely one movement in the symphony of your control. You do not linger in the moment because you are already beyond it. You do not look back because your focus is forward. And this, more than the strike itself, is what cements dominance. The realization that you were never fighting for the moment. You were always shaping the bigger picture. So remember this, retaliation is not just about the blow. It is about the silence that follows. It is about holding the frame, not only in conflict, but in victory. It is about proving, through restraint, composure, and presence, that your dominance is not situational, it is permanent. The strike shakes the ground, but the aftermath builds the throne upon it. That is how you cement your dominance after the blow lands. That is how you own the aftermath. And once you master this, every strike you deliver will not just end battles, it will reshape the battlefield forever.